You might notice how the words that we use shape the experience we have. Words that can be like keys, simple, clear and sharp, unlocking a door to something new. But sometimes the best keys, they're hidden in plain sight, just waiting for the right moment, the right connection. And when we speak in a way that aligns with where someone is, they'll naturally follow, step by step, without realizing it. Just like how a river meanders around rocks, finding its way smoothly and easily. Our language, when aligned, it leads the way. So imagine you're standing at the edge of a vast field. You look out, and there are many paths before you. Every path represents a thought, a belief, a perspective. Now you can walk down any path. But what makes the journey easier is understanding how each one works in relationship to the other. Just like how a compass points you north, language patterns point the way to greater understanding. The meta model, for instance, it works like a map to pinpoint the exact points, to make the broad, blurry view of your thoughts more clear, specific. You might wonder, what happens when the map isn't the way to go? What happens when a vague, flowing river of language might be what's needed? That's where the Milton Model comes in. Think of the Milton Model as the art form, painting with the words that are open, spacious, where each phrase can be felt differently depending on who's listening. It's not about exactness, it's about the potential, the possibility, and how those words can invite someone to explore and to feel their own way. It's like the difference between a well-defined path that leads directly to a destination versus a scenic route that allows you to wander and find what matters the most. Let's bring it back to rapport, because rapport, it isn't about simply being liked or agreeing on every little thing. It's about creating a harmonious space where both people can travel together. It's like two dancers moving in sync, neither leading nor following completely, but working together as they create something that's not only comfortable, but it's beautiful. If we can communicate in such a way that the other person feels understood, without needing to agree on every detail, we've found that balance. It's as though you're both walking side by side, not leading or being led, but both stepping forward as one. You see, when we begin by matching someone's rhythm, their pace, it's like setting the stage for a conversation that feels natural. And when someone feels safe, when they feel heard, their defences soften, they open up to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, what you're saying is true. Just like when you listen to music and you feel the beat before the lyrics even catches your attention. The beat is what we use, what we align with. When we speak in a way that they can feel, not just hear. What if we begin with the smallest truths, those simplest things that everyone can agree on? Have you noticed how once something feels true, it just makes the next thing easier to accept? Like when you're starting a puzzle, fitting the few pieces together, it's easier to see how the next piece fits, right? Those first pieces, the truisms, they're the start of something much bigger, something that leads to an understanding without force. Just like the way a child might say, I know how to tie my shoes now. And that simple statement leads them to learn everything else that they need to know about tying knots. So too can we give someone those first easy truths. These truisms are like stepping stones, each one paving the way for the next, helping someone to say, yes, yes, I understand. You can imagine how the more they say yes, the more these little pieces connect, creating a bigger picture they can't help but see. This builds a kind of trust in their own mind, allowing them to say yes to the next idea. One truth leads to the next and the next, until suddenly they find themselves believing something they hadn't considered before. It's like when you're telling a story, but instead of just explaining everything, you weave in little clues that guide the listener to their conclusion. They aren't just hearing facts, they're discovering for themselves. Just like how a good story pulls you in. NLP pulls you to the landscape of language in a way that allows others to shift their perspective without realizing that it's happening. Remember, every person has a frame of reference, a world through which they view everything. And for anything said to land, it has to go through that frame first. So if you want to shift someone's thinking, You have to be aware of their frame. Because if you talk to them in a way that feels like it's coming from their world, then it's much easier for them to accept the new ideas. It's like being a guide on a journey. You don't just tell people where to go. Instead, you help them to see the world from a new perspective, one where they can easily step into the new possibilities. And when you do that, when you offer just the right shift, just the right nudge, it's like you've handed them the key to opening the next door on their path. One of the most powerful tools to help them change their frame of reference is what we call the sleight of mouth patterns. This is a way of turning around even the most fixed ideas, like a magician turning one thing into another effortlessly. When someone argues against a new idea, instead of fighting them, you simply show them the other side, gently leading them to see it in a new light. You're not confronting their belief directly. You're showing them how, within their own system, something else makes sense. In essence, you're walking through their world with them. And at the perfect moment, you simply guide them to see something new, something unexpected, without force, with just the right touch. It's a dance, a graceful movement, a shift that happens naturally, because when the timing is right, they can't help but see things differently. And when you've done that, when you've shifted the frame, you've not only guided their thoughts, but you've helped them discover new truths about themselves and the world that's around them. By now, you may have begun to notice how this can shape your interactions, your way of speaking, your way of listening. It's a gentle process unfolding like a flower in bloom, each petal revealing more of the full potential that exists in every conversation you have. Each word carefully chosen becomes a step forward, each shift a new possibility. As you continue, you'll find it's not just about what you say, it's about how you help others see, feel, and experience the world in a new, empowering way. And that is the power of language.